So we are starting the new topic, which is nothing but initial value problem. The first topic we are taking in that first question, we are having here d square x by d t square. Now the variable you can observe we are not having y here. Be careful with this. Now here also they have given some the initial conditions. Condition you can see over here. X of 0 is what? 0, and differentiation of x of 0 is given as what? 15. Okay, so the first and foremost thing we have to do is that we have to find the solution of what this particular thing. Remember, x is the variable, not y here. Be careful with that. So how to find the solution? Always we know that whenever the RHS side is 0, the solution will be always equal to yc. So first we have to find yc value. Yp is not there since RHS is not there. So yc how to find? First you have to write it in this form. Here remember we used to take d as what? D by dx, but here the variable has changed, it is dt. So assume that d by dt is equal to d. So what will happen to the equation? So d by dt, so this part d square by dt square will become d square, and d by dt will become d, so it will be plus 5dx. Here also x is there, plus 6x as it is. Okay, equal to what? 0. Now here we can take x common. So d square plus 5d plus 6 is into x is equal to 0. Now as we know that if you simplify this thing, we will be getting the answer. First you have to form the auxiliary equation. For that replace d with m. So it will be m square plus 5m plus 6 equated to 0. So whatever is there inside the bracket, take and equate it to 0. Now we have to find the solution for the roots for this so that we can get the yc value. So in order to find roots, we can go by quadratic formula or factorization method. Otherwise, calculator, if it is allowed, you can go by that. So factorization method, splitting a middle term. 1 is the coefficient here, 6 is the constant term here. So 1 into 6 is what? 6. So while multiplying two numbers, you should get 6, and while adding, you should get the middle term plus 5. So the factors for 6 is 2 and 3, 1 and 6. So I can take this pair since I have to get 5. So I can write the answer as what? The simplified form, m square plus 2m plus 3m plus 6 is equal to 0. So while multiplying 2 and 3, you will be getting 6. While adding 2 plus 3, you will be getting 5. To satisfy first two grouping, last two grouping, take m common. What is left out? M plus 2 is left out. Here also m plus 2 should be there. Outside equal to 0. And here outside what you can keep? Plus 3. So this and this are common. So m plus 2 is common. What is left out? M plus 3 is left out. Equal to what? 0. Now we can say that this is a multiplication factor. So m plus 2 is equal to 0 and m plus 3 is equal to 0. So from this m value is equal to minus 2, from this m value is equal to minus 3, right? So we got the roots. As we know that both the roots are different, so it comes under the category of real and distinct roots, right? Real numbers and distinct roots. Distinct in the sense different. So here suppose m value you are getting it as alpha and beta, two different roots. So yc value can be written as what? C1 e power alpha x plus C2 e power beta x, right? This was we have done earlier also. But here the thing is that yc value how we are going to write. That is very important. Here we won't be writing as yc, but the thing is that here the variable has changed. Here the variable is x. So you are going to write the general solution as what? So general solution you can write it as what? X, and which is equal to x of t, since we know that it is a function of t. Now here x of t will become c1 e power what? Alpha means we can take the first root, what is minus 2. You have to put it as not x here, it is t, plus c2 into e power minus 3t. This is important, very very important, because x is a function of t. So after writing general solution, this is a complete solution, right? We got complete solution. Now after that we had initial conditions in the question, which is x of 0 is equal to what? 0. So from this x of 0, if I substitute, what will happen? X of 0 will become, in this you have substitute, c1 e power, in place of t you have to put what? 0. So this basic meaning is t equal to 0, okay? So minus 2 into 0 plus c2 into what? E power minus 3 into 0. So you will be getting here what? E power 0 is what? 1. So c1 plus c2, and what is x of 0 value? Which is 0. So you have to put it here 0. So this is one equation form. You can rewrite it as c1 plus c2 is equal to 0, first equation. Next, one more condition they had given, which is nothing but dx by dt of 0 is equal to 15. That means I have to first differentiate dx by dt. So where is x sitting? X is nothing but this value, right? So this value, if you differentiate, what will happen? See here carefully. So I am going to find out dx by dt. How to find dx by dt? Differentiate. It will be c1 is a constant. E power minus 2t differentiation is what? Minus 2 into c1 e power minus 2t plus c2 is there, so minus 3. So minus 3 into c2 e power minus 3t. This is the differentiation. Okay. Now after differentiating, we know that if we substitute dx by dt of 0 is 15, we know, right? So if I want to substitute in place of t, so what I am going to do, I am going to substitute t is equal to 0. So what will happen? So minus 2 c1 e power 0 plus minus 3 c2 e power 0, and which is equal to what? 15 I can write, because it is equal to 15. So what is the equation you are going to get here? So you will be getting the equation as what? Minus 2c1 minus 3c2 is equal to 15, or in other words you can write it as 2c1 plus 3c2 is equal to minus 15. Multiply both sides with minus sign. This is the second equation. So we have got two equations. Now for that two equations we are going to find what? C1 and C2 value. Then after that we are going to substitute. So we are going to solve the first and second equation we are having. So we are having first equation as C1 plus C2 equal to 0. Okay. Second equation 2C1 plus 3C2 is equal to minus 15. How to solve this equation? Very simple. What you have to do? Make the coefficients of one variable same. So I will make here coefficient of C1 same. So multiply with the 2. So it will become 2C1 plus 2C2 is equal to 0 into 2 is 0. Second equation as it is. So you can observe that 2 and 2 are same for C1 coefficients. Now directly subtract. So while subtracting, be careful with the sign. This and this cancel. 2 minus 3. 2 plus into minus, right? 2 minus 3 is how much? Minus. So minus C2 is equal to minus into 2 minus of minus, right? So you will be getting plus. So C2 value you will be getting as what? Minus 15. Now after getting C2 value, as we know that you can find just by putting in this equation. So we know that C1 plus C2 is equal to 0. In that C1 value is equal to minus C2. So here minus C2 value we know minus 15. So it will be plus 15. So C1 value also we got. Now directly you have to substitute these values in what? X of t. So as we know the general solution x is equal to x of t was given by what? C1 e power minus 2t plus C2 e power minus 3t was our general solution. If you change this one, C1 value if you substitute, it will be 15 e power minus 2t is minus 15. So minus 15 e power minus 3t. If you want, you can take 15 common. So what will be? You're getting e power minus 2t plus minus e power minus 3t. This will be the final answer. Okay, so we are trying to what we are having here. They have given some condition that condition you are utilizing here in order to find the constant terms parameters you are going to find out, that C1 and C2, right? That C1 and C2 we are finding and substituting in the general equation. That's what we are going to do here, right?